everyone, and I am Nirasha Ramlugan from Just Simply Change, and I am privileged today because we have some very special guests on the Chatty Cuppa. Now, you know that the Chatty Cuppa is all about mindset hacks, because if you can hack your mind, then you'll definitely be living a very, very long, happy life. Now, I have two beautiful women sitting there. They both are sisters. Are you guys sisters? No, they're basically mom and daughter. So we have Tash and we have Diya, and they are very, very special people to me because they're not just my guests on the Chatty Cuppa, they are also very close family. And I know Tash for the last 26 years, and Diya is, how old, Diya, are you?
20.
Sorry, I can't.
20.
You're 20, okay. And so Diya, I know her all her life. So it's actually a privilege having you guys here. Thank you so much for agreeing to come and share and inspire, because I know as women, and you two are beautiful women that have these amazing mindsets, and the way you are in your normal day-to-day life. I take my hat off to you. So let's get started. So firstly, Diya, can you actually tell me a little bit about yourself? Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Nirasha Ramlugan. I am about to turn 20 2 months from now. I'm a second-year university student studying Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in economics, and my second major will be marketing. I'm a little bit on the environmentalist side, preventing animal cruelty, and just every little thing we can go use towards building a better future, not only for ourselves, but for future generations.
Well, so Diya, we need many more of you. We need many more of you.
Yeah. I really wish that people could see things the way that we do. And unfortunately, the world is not as perfect as we think it is or see it to be. But hopefully within the years to come, I can make some change.
Absolutely. And mom, I won't call you mom today. That's Tash. Tash, can you introduce yourself, please, sweetie?
Sure. So I'm Tashmina Ramlugan, and I just turned 45 this April. Feeling the aches and pains and going along with the motion. But I have to tell you that, firstly, a mom of 3, Diya's 20, and we have Aman, who's going to be 17, and Josh, who turns 13. So I have all these teenagers on my hands. And then I have a wonderful husband to share my life with. That's been my soulmate. And blessed to have him. And yes, now our newly acquainted, new
little member of our family.
Yeah, we call him Chai because we love chai. So that's what we decided to call him.
That's a typical Gujarati name, hey?
Yeah, it is a typical Gujarati name.
So guys, you know what? Our topic today is just amazing, because I know, Tash, that you come from a background where human values is a huge thing in your life, and in the way you grow up your kids and the way you lead your day-to-day life. So our topic today, guys, it's all about how to strive to be a good human being. Well, I actually want to ask Tash, not just how to be a good human being, it's how to be a great human being. I think most of us are striving towards that. So I'm going to start off by asking you, what does it mean? What does being a great or good human being mean to you, Tash?
I think firstly, being a good human being is about being true to yourself. And once you're true to yourself, you find that being good to others, or bringing out your personality and sharing who you are with others becomes a little bit, it somehow catches up with you. But we've learned through the years. Life has taught us a lot. I mean, yes, when we're younger, we think we know everything. Only years can teach us. Only experiences develop us into the type of people that we become. And,
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that's possible later on in life only, when you've seen a little bit more. When we were younger and our parents say, I've seen life, you haven't, you need to understand what it's all about. And you're like,
Mom tells me that all the time.
And I
All
guess
the
you
time.
hear Dia saying the same thing to you now, and it feels like, oh gosh, I said that to my mom. Dia, before I start, I want to just add in here that Tash has her own nursery school.
that's correct.
In South Africa, in Durban, in Effingham Heights. And Dia goes to university in Durban, UDW, University of Durban School. Yes. Right, so I thought I'd just fill it in. So Dia, what does it mean to be a good human being to you?
So being a good human being is very simple for me. It's not thinking ill thoughts of other people and not intentionally doing things to hurt other people. And I think that's just the core of it. If you place your thoughts around that, being a good human being would become easier. You wouldn't do things that you shouldn't be doing. You wouldn't be treating people the way you wouldn't be. It's all about humility and humanity to me.
But Dia, I know that you are just 20, and I know that if I had to ask the question to your age group, young adults, how do you persevere to not speak ill about other people? We all get into our little groups, and we all end up just talking about the other and whatever, and which is like the world does. We chat about other people, we judge other people. And how do you actually prevent yourself from doing that?
So it actually is very difficult because people love to talk stories about everything and everyone, especially in this age group. There's nothing else to talk about, or there's just not much that we have experience that we can speak for ourselves. So I've noticed this many of times, where the only way people try to make conversation with you is through a link with another person by talking about that person. And when I see that the conversation is going that way, I kind of try to distance myself or not give too much input to the conversation.
And do you find that you lose friends in doing that?
I've lost many of friends doing that. My high school years.
How does it feel?
Oh, it feels, you know what? It actually doesn't make a difference to my life, because during that whole process, through high school, I did have a lot of friends that I've lost because of that. Mm-hmm. And it was quite a difficult thing, because I was like, why do I only have one friend? Why does nobody want to talk to me about certain things? Like, why are people not passionate about the things that I'm passionate about? Like, why can't I have these conversations? And then when I went to university and my horizon was broadened, I met many new people, and I kind of just fitted with these new people. And I found that the people that I lost were actually insignificant, because when you start to grow and develop your own personality and know what you want, kind of, you just attract positive people or people who are like you. And it's very easy to differentiate when you know what you're looking for.
Absolutely. And I think if you know what... Sorry.
If there's one thing that I've taught my kids, is to always look for the positive in every situation. You're going to be put in situations your whole life. I mean, high school is just, the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to experience when it comes to life, how people are, how they can change overnight. So I've instilled in them positive out of every situation will get you a long way. And I can proudly say that all three of them do that. They look for the positive light. They're good and kind children. They act like little...
I love them.
Little scamps at home.
Can I add one more thing? Also, okay, I'm not sure, like, speaking from like other parents' perspective, but I'm very grateful to have the parents that I have. Like,
well done, Dia. Because you do have awesome parents. You do have awesome parents.
I really do. And sometimes we don't see the things our parents go through to like give us what we need. Or you can't look into anyone else's mind, but your parents always just want the best for you. And there was never a time where I was in a situation where I couldn't go to my parents. Like my parents were always my, you know, like
Your
my
go-to.
Yeah.
And
They
you know
always
what?
kept me on the right track. You know, when they felt that I was, not that I ever like strayed, but if they felt that they saw something that they didn't like, they would bring it to my attention and we would speak like adults. Like there was always an open, free relationship between my parents and I, where we could speak about things that I know lots of my friends don't speak to their parents about. So
Absolutely.
being a parent who's open with your kids really helps with making you a better human being.
Absolutely. You know what? I take my hat off to your mom and dad. And we mentioned dad. Dad is actually Romel, and he's this most gorgeous brother. I call him my bro. But he's this amazing human being. And I think it's so important from a young perspective, especially a daughter. You know, being an Indian daughter in an Indian family in Durban. Oh my God. You know, I know when I was growing up, I couldn't go and I couldn't do because my parents were very, very old school.
Orthodox.
But it's weird that 20 years later, I think times change, but I don't think value systems actually change. I think being good, whether it was 20 years ago, whether it's now, being good has more or less the same definition. I think the important things in life that we actually think that is important was important even 20 years ago. Because I seem to be saying the same things with my kids, you know, with Ash and Sahana. Tash, can you, as a mom, from a mom's perspective, what are your most important things in your life? What do you think is important as a mom in your life and also as an entrepreneur, because you're a businesswoman?
Yeah. So, you know, the most important thing is being open with your kids, having that communication every day, all the time. You know, unfortunately, we came from a generation where our parents, not that they lacked love for us, they loved us, but they just expressed themselves differently, or they didn't express themselves, or we weren't allowed to express ourselves to them. And because Roman and I come from the same generation, you know, we've been through high school, we're high school sweethearts, so, you know, being through the entire process together.
It's adorable. It's adorable.
we promised ourselves from the beginning, when it was time to have kids, that we would be as open with them as possible, teach them the ways of life, and not let them learn it from someone or, you know, get the wrong information about it. So I think that's what was most important for us in bringing up our kids. But being an entrepreneur and working with small kids as well, besides my own children, you know, having an early childhood development center. So I take kids from about 3 months right until grade R, which is about 6 years old. And developing those beautiful little characters, because that's where it all starts. It starts from them. It starts from that generation who are going to now lead us into the future. And if you can get through to those kids, you know, like I did with my own children, and bringing them up the way we did, I think it will make a huge difference in the future. A little thing is just sitting silently for 5 minutes.
I remember. Exactly. I was talking about that the other day with somebody that had a 3-year-old, and I said, you know what? I went to one of my family's house in Durban, and she had this CD that it was called a minute meditations or whatever. Right. So, do you remember you had it from the Brahma Kumaris?
Yes, I did. It's called 100,000 Angels, and that is what I play. And amazingly, my little ones, as small as 2, they sit down and I don't like to use the word meditation with them. I like to call it silent sitting and thinking about who you are and how important you are to yourself, besides how important you are to mom and dad and everyone around.
That's so beautiful. And I think your parents must be really grateful for your value-based education that you actually put in for those little kids.
That's exactly it. It's not only about learning book knowledge. It's not really about that. It's about, you know, being a good human being. Absolutely. And if you don't teach them from a young age about how to be kind and nice with one another, how to share, how to, just, it doesn't take much for you to be a good, kind person. Yet it takes more energy when you have all these negative feelings.
Yeah.
But when the positivity comes out, you radiate, it radiates onto your children. And it's just, it's a domino effect on them.
I
So
totally agree. Totally agree. Now, if I think about when I think about my mom used to say, oh my God, I remember the first time when I was pregnant. No, I think after I gave birth. And so we had recorded a video of the whole birthing process. And I told my mom, with my sister and my sister-in-laws, we all sat together, and I said, Mommy, come and watch this. It's such a beautiful experience seeing how Ash was born. And she says, Harja, how could you even do that? How could you even put the camera? And she laughed. He says, in my times, my mom and with my mom and my parent and my dad, I couldn't even mention the word pregnant or boyfriend or whatever.
Yes.
And it's so weird that when she said that, and I reflect and I think about how you and I are bringing up our kids, we are so open with them. We chat sometimes our dinner conversations when we're having dinner. We have the most weird dinner conversations where Ash will say, Mommy, you go from 0 to 100 within 10 seconds.
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
That's relatable.
What are some of the challenges you face daily? And where, and how do you use these traits of being a good human being in meeting those challenges? But also I want to ask you, when have you been good actually didn't pay off?
Oh, many a times.
Tell me.
The problem with being good is
you're too good.
Yeah, and you think that everyone is going to be like you. You have no idea that they're thinking all these negative thoughts. Here you are, giving your heart and soul to someone, and it's turned around against you. I mean, we've lost many friends. We still, till this day, do not know why. We don't know the reason. But then you sit back and you think, you prayed about it and you said, please, let's just take off these negative people from my life. You don't know who they are, but when they start falling one by one, you realize, oh my God, I see the bigger picture now.
So it's a higher consciousness just answering all your prayer.
At that time, you do not want to believe it. You do not want to believe that there are other people who can be this nasty to you, because, I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I expect other people to be like that. So when there's backbiting and there's all these other negative things going on, this mind cannot understand it. I don't know how to understand that kind of thing.
And
so the biggest challenge is, understanding that not everyone's like you, that you want the world to change, but one person at a time, and it really starts with you.
Absolutely, but remember that we all are on a different journey.
Yes.
We all are on a different spiritual journey, and I think sometimes we take it for granted that they should have known that. Now, I always think, and I always tell my clients is that if you want to learn the piano, to become an expert and a genius in learning that piano, you need to practice. If you want to do really well at playing basketball, you need to practice. So I actually think that people don't practice how to be good enough. So for example, if you want to be kind and you want to be generous, you have to have a platform to actually practice those values, because the more you practice it, the more you get the more it's embedded in you. And I think that this needs to start right from the time the child is born. And I think parents need to start to instill these values, whether it's kindness, whether it's speaking the truth, whether it's honesty, whether it's looking at the best in every situation, or whether it's being wary of nasty people. I think that we need to
Yes.
give our children opportunities. And sometimes parents will say, but how do you teach a newborn? You teach a newborn how to kindness by the way you hug them, the way you give them your time and your love and the things that you tell them. Even though they are that little, they are very, very, their energies absorb other people's energies very, very quickly. By reading stories to them, and I think you must be doing a lot of storytelling at your nursery, at your learning center. Dia, I want to know, like, when did you, being a good person, didn't pay off?
Many of times. In this day and age,
examples. Give me
kids
some
are just
examples.
horrible. Kids are just horrible. Like I had
when you say horrible, what are some of the things that kids do that are really horrible?
Okay, so story time. There was this girl that was being cyberbullied for, like kids, like they discuss controversial topics like feminism, racism, homophobia. All of those topics are very rife at the moment, and everybody has their own opinions or sayings about it. So there's this one girl, very famous. I'm not going to mention names because that's not right. Very well known throughout the country. She actually puts up these things, but she does it in a way where only her opinion is right, and she's not open to listening to other girls or other people's opinions. Mm-hmm. So if you disagree with her, she will publicly shame you. She did this to this one girl. This other girl disagreed with her view and spoke about cultural, cultural practices and all of that. Some of them don't apply to feminism, or I don't know how to explain it, but she basically just disagreed with her view, and she shamed this girl. She said that what she was saying was wrong. She underlined parts in this girl's post. She put this girl on her story and told everyone to block her, and that she's promoting unequal rights and all of that. And so I called this girl out. I commented on her post. I was like, what you're doing is not right. This girl actually removed herself from all social media. She literally became a ghost overnight. And I called her out in one of her comments, and I said, what you're doing is not right. The next day, this girl blocked me, got all her friends to block me. They removed me. Some of them reported my account. And it was just, and you think are my values, did what I say was wrong? Or do other people also agree with, okay, I understand maybe views or whatever, but you don't ever call someone out.
But also, Dia has a 20-year-old. You think that 20-year-olds are much more mature, and young adults are much more mature in the way they think, and I'm all
definitely. And the thing is, you're calling out something that's.
I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm all for fighting what's the righteousness in the world. And I think we need more people, but also the act of doing that and the way we do it.
It's how you come across.
How you come across. And it all boils down to, again, how to be that great human being that can go around changing the world, but doing it in a way where you lift people up and you don't stamp on them.
Yes, and that's exactly what I was trying to say. I was like, look, what you're doing is wrong. We understand your view or your viewpoint and stuff, but you can't bully a girl to the point where she takes herself off everything, Imagine what she must be feeling. And sometimes I think that I did it to stand up or speak up for her, and I felt like it was the right thing to do, but it got me nowhere.
Do you know what, no matter what, if I had to be looking at both the situations, you and this girl, I would say that sometimes not everybody's at that same level of processing. And sometimes people might be having a bad day. Sometimes they may be going through emotional and mental illnesses, and we just don't know. So therefore, we have to make sure that we speak with love, and we love with we love without conditions, and you know, we need to be this open-hearted, open-minded human beings so that we can add value to other people.
Definitely.
I'm going to ask you, we've got I want to know, like, Tash, how do you remember your value system in your business? You know, because it's so easy to be swayed into doing something wrong. Like, you need something tomorrow, you can pay a little bit extra to somebody and get it done today. So how do you remember your value system in your business when you are running your business? Or have, you know, has you've got the school now going on for quite some time. So when you were growing it, how did you remember your value system, and how did you practice that?
In South Africa, it's so easy to buy something quickly and, you know, be on the wrong end of the stick all the time, because everything and everyone is just bought here. But my conscience doesn't allow me to. I won't be able to sleep, you know. It's just who I am. You know, I often say that the person that I've become today is because of my husband. He's taught me to be this person that I am today. But
you must be ready at doing a dance there.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I'm always, like I said at the beginning, I'm true to myself. If I feel that it's the wrong thing to do, I would not do it. Yes, you want to, because you want to get it done and over with as quickly as possible. But if you don't do it the long way, you're never going to know that it's the right way. You could get caught the wrong way. And I could never live with myself.
You mentioned a very important word, and I think not many parents, neither do I hear children talking about it, a conscience.
Yes.
So how do you help to develop your the conscience in your children?
Well, that comes with, you know, you can't do it when you're doing classwork. That comes with free play activity. When you're taking them out and, you know, one has a fight with the other, because that's what kids do. They don't want to share. You've got to make them think about it in another way. You know, if that toy was the last toy that you had to ever play with, and you had a little child that had nothing, what would you do? Would you now go and share that toy and know that you're going to have something else in the future? That child might not ever get another toy. You know, it's hard for them to swallow at that little age, but they come back to me a day or two later with these beautiful, you know, Auntie Tash, I did this today. I shared my toy, Auntie Tash, and you know what? It actually made me feel so good. And it comes back.
I know that child, by we doing it often enough, they start to develop it. But we have adults that don't have consciences, you know, so sometimes the kids that you are teaching, they go back home to normality. So do you also do any parenting tips for your parents?
So, you know, the strange thing about that is, you know, what teachers say is that is the truth and there's no other
at that age. I love
truth
that.
besides that. So these little ones, you know, they just beautiful souls. And they would go, and if their mom or dad is doing something wrong, if we had a discussion about a particular topic that day, they will drill it into their parents. And you know,
an innocent age.
Yes, an innocent age. So in that sense, you know, the parents, I see change in them. Lots of parents who can come to me.
Can I give you an example?
Yeah.
So one of the days I was free, not doing anything, and I decided to do a class with my mom's kids on, what was it? On the environment and carbon footprint. Big words for little kids. And I taught them how to say ozone layer and how it's breaking and getting damaged because of us. And they took it back to their parents and said, we need to get solar panels. And this one kid, was it Zia?
Zia.
She went back, and I spoke to them about how the oceans are being polluted and how plastic is not biodegradable. And I told them what biodegradable means. And she went back home, and her mom gave my mom a call the next day saying that Zia's saying that we're not allowed to buy plastic packets anymore because all the fish are dying.
Wow, that's amazing. You know what? You start to change the world one child at a time. Now, I'm going to ask Diya, how did your parents plant the seed of awakening in your conscience?
They did it by example.
Tell me more.
You know, everything that they told us, you know, they would explain to us what they made us very aware of the difference between right and wrong and how we can differentiate by ourselves. And from a young age, like Mom also did meditation with us, which brought upon discipline within ourselves. And they, you know, Mom would always ask us, like similar to that example that she gave you, whenever we were in a predicament or we had anything, as up till today, Mom would ask us if we're unsure about anything. Okay, I'll put you in a scenario. This is going to happen and this is going to happen and you are in charge of it. What would you do and how would you feel if you chose either one? And we spoke about that and communicated about each one and the consequences of them. And I think that's how we developed our conscience.
Oh yeah, but you do get the drama of, oh Mom, you from a different generation, you don't understand what it's like being a youngster now.
And Mom says, I know exactly what it is. I've been
absolutely. We know exactly.
You go to your room, you go into your bed, and the next day you come in and you say, Mom, you were right, Mom. I'm going to change. I need to do what you say is right.
Yeah, we will. I think that talk, girl. We will. We will.
Yeah. We may have done that, hey?
I know.
I get that conversations with Sana and Ash all the time too. Now, you've got two brothers, and you are the eldest. How do you? What is your role as an older sister in developing your younger siblings to be good people?
I'm not going to lie, it's very difficult.
What's the biggest challenge?
Boys are a bit different.
It's a bit of a challenge because they're a bit wild. No, I'm kidding. I try to just always, you know, I do the exact same thing. I've learned my mom's method now. You know the guilt trip?
Okay.
That I use.
And do you find that do they respond to you?
100%.
Oh, that's
100%.
brilliant.
So if they're doing something or they, like a silly example, like the other day, let me give you a great example. My brothers were playing, I'm not sure if you've seen those challenges on TikTok where they take the egg and throw it and the first one to drop it has to eat an egg. So they were playing with this. I didn't tell you about this because you may have screamed at us, but I handled it.
She handled it.
So they were playing with the egg. They were throwing it to one another. They cricketers, so they think they can catch. One of them caught the egg and it broke in his hand. And I was sitting there and I walked in. I was sitting in my room. I walked in as soon as the egg broke. I saw the second catch and it broke. And I just looked at them and I was like, what's going on, guys? And they said, no, we're doing a TikTok challenge. I said, you're doing a TikTok challenge with an egg, which people eat. Do you realize in this time, people do not have food. People are starving. That one egg that you just wasted, that's going to go into the bin, could have sustained a person for one day. As little as you think it is, it could have sustained someone. And they're like, oh, you're getting all emotional now. No. I said, no, I'm not getting emotional. Think about what you're doing. And we have everything. We're not short of anything. But think about the people the kids who don't even have parents to take care of them, who fending for themselves.
What did they do? Tell me.
I'm sorry, Didi. I'll never do it again. And in this pandemic time, for the first 2.5 months, we never, like my dad was out every single day doing food relief hampers. We barely saw him. We barely spent time with him. He's an amazing person. He used to go out every morning and come back every evening, doing distributions for food hampers to those who were
That's
needy.
amazing.
And we're going into winter now, so it's really cold. At the moment, we're doing like blanket hampers and stuff. And I reminded the boys, do you remember how Pa and his friends and the rest of our community went out and didn't spend time with us just to put food on people's plates? And here you are taking the food from your plate and wasting it. And it just guilt-tripped them.
And also, your parents, your dad was putting his, he was
life at risk.
Yeah, life at risk. Guys, you know what? I always believe that the key to being great people is to love yourself. That's like my number one. To actually,
most important. I learned that from you. Thank you very much.
and when you start to love yourself, then you would always demand the best for you, because this is your life. This is your spiral of life. And when people are slipping down, whether it's because of something that has happened in their lives, or whether it's because of stress, anxiety, depression, or whatever, remember that even if you go down, if you do have that self-love and the self-worth, then that raises your self-confidence, and that just reminds you of the great person that you can be. And if every single person, I'm gonna look at the Bhagavad Gita here. The Bhagavad Gita speaks so much about duty. And I think if every single person performs their duty, so whether you are a teacher, or whether you are a person that works in the supermarket, or a student, or whether you are the one, those beautiful people that come along and clean our streets and all of those things, like what your dad is doing also. So if we can remember that whatever duty, whatever job we have, if we do our best, then you'd find that rubs off onto other people. And when you make people happy and you make yourself happy, then you end up having such a more purposeful life. And I think many people, when they are not great people or they are not good people, it's just because they lack purpose in life and they feel like, living life in a limbo. And if parents haven't instilled great values in children right from the time they're little kids, then it's never too late to actually learn.
And do you know Asha Kaki?
Yeah.
And sometimes I get so upset, like I actually go sit in my room and cry about it, that why don't people think like us? Like, why is this person so miserable? Why does this person always look at the negative? And I see it so often and I question, like, why? And I can't get an answer, and it really upsets me. But like, from the things you're telling me now, it does make sense that everyone is on their own journey. And all we can do is help them. But how do you help them if they don't want to help themselves?
See, it's not about you helping them. It's about them knowing that you are there. But you can only help somebody that wants help, that needs help, that want to change. And if they are not yet ready to change, if you are this embodiment of beautiful love and things like that, then your life, the way you live your life, becomes their want or their need to change. So think about it, when I see some of my clients and I ask them, like, who is the person that when you look at them, you just think, oh, I want to have their confidence, or I want to love myself as much as they do. And when I ask them that question, then they start to realize, oh my God, there's so many great people in the world that we can aspire to be. And the whole idea of having these conversations and these chats with you guys is to share and inspire. And if we can inspire other people, whether one person watches this or two people or a whole community, or whether it goes viral, if it changes one person, that means we three have actually made a difference. This 45 minutes that we're spending with each other has made a difference to at least one person. So I always say we must never ever stop being great people. We must never ever stop. Even I always think of myself as a calm in the storm. Yes, I do have my own storm now and again, but it lasts for short times. So it's being the calm in the storm. And when the whole world is doing everything wrong, you have to have integrity, and you have to have this feeling that, no, I am doing it because I want to do it right. Because if every single person thinks that they want to do it right, then you'd have a avalanche of people who are doing things right, and which we need to aspire to. I want to say thank you so much. Diya, before we finish, your biggest number one tip on how to be a great human being?
Think positive, love yourself, and don't do anything to anyone that you wouldn't like being done to yourself.
Perfect. And Tash, give me one of your biggest tips for all the parents and women entrepreneurs. Go for it.
I read this beautiful quote that said, are we as human beings, that just, resonated so well with me, because I think sharing your heart, sharing the person you are, if you could make a difference and bring a smile to another person's face, even if it's just for a moment, to you it might be a moment, but for them it might be a lifetime that you've managed to change that. You are the person who's changed who I am. Being in the dark for so many years, to this person that I've become now.
We help each other.
We help each other, yes, and that's what it's really about. Because if I didn't have you, I wouldn't be of any help to anyone else. So yes, I have a lot of my moms coming to me, and I have a lot of different friends that come and they feel they can confide in me and let me know, and they know that at the end of it, something positive is going to come out of it, and they take that back and share it with their family. And I think that's what makes a big difference. Try
Absolutely.
the best version of yourself.
Absolutely. I love that. I love to try to be the best, not try, to be the best version of yourself. Because when we try, we always end up failing. So to be the best version of yourself. Guys, thank you so much. To have a mother and daughter here, and especially my favorite people in the world. Thank you so much for being on the Chatty Cuppa, and your presence here have been amazing. If you want to get hold of Diya, you can catch her on Instagram as Diya Ramlugan.
Yeah, _Ramlugan.
Oh, _Ramlugan. And Tash,
It's Tashmina Vala. That's what you can get me on.
And you can find them on all Facebook and Instagram, all social media. And I would love to end off with saying, you know what? Everything about the Chatty Cuppa is about mindset hacks. And there's been a lot of gems in this conversation that I've had with Tash and Diya. And the whole idea of the Chatty Cuppa is all about to rewire and inspire to spark that inner fire. And I think we have done that. Thank you guys so much. And lots of love to your brothers and Romel. Love you guys. Love you guys.
Love you too. Thanks for having us.
Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure.